You are watching WGSR 19.1 Reidsville, North Carolina, and you may be watching us on our other Star News TV stations, including Martinsville, Danville. No matter where you are, thanks for being here. We appreciate you making us a part of your day. It is time now to catch up with Reidsville Mayor Dr. Jay Donecker for his latest update on COVID-19 and how it's affecting the city of Reidsville. And Jay, of course, Dr. Mayor, glad to have you here. We're always glad to have you here. And listen, let me add, before we go any further, that I had several people talk to me this past week, over the weekend, about the conference call we did with all of the mayors in Rockingham County, and how informative that was, and that it was great to see a joint effort among all of the municipalities working together. I had actually a couple, maybe three people, I can't remember exactly how many now, but several people talked about how nice that was. And so I just wanted to say thank you to you and to Preston Mitchell and of course to Missy Matthews for helping to really put that together, help us out with that. But a lot of people seem to have learned some great information from that conference call.
Well, I'm glad to hear that, because like you identified, that probably was a first, and it was great to have the chairman of the commissioners on. With us going into phase 2, there was a little bit of an unsettled situation about what exactly that means for our citizens. And, going from last week to this week, those who are in the city found out that the number of positive cases in Rockingham County went up by 50%. Mm-hmm. So there is more testing going on, so we are identifying additional people. Thank goodness not many of them need to be hospitalized, but it's better to identify these people who don't appear to be very sick, but so they can at least self-quarantine and not spread the infection by basically making sure they practice social distancing with everybody, including those in their same household.
Right.
Possible.
So again, thanks to everybody that made that possible, and we do want to say a big thank you to all of the mayors in Rockingham County and Chairman Mark Richardson, the Board of Commissioners, for participating in that. It's great to hear everybody pulling together to help keep the people of Rockingham County and beyond safe too, for those of you that come to visit Rockingham County for whatever reason, whether it's pleasure or business. So thank you. Thank you all. We appreciate that. So Mayor, let's go ahead and get started with what's going on this week with your update. And I think we've got some things going on you wanted to talk about today.
Yes. There were a number of aspects of the governor's phase 2 executive order in which there were words like strongly recommended. And it wasn't like will do or shall. It was strongly recommended. And out of that has grown a program called Count on Me North Carolina. And this is a training program, online training program, that teaches restaurants, hotels, and attractions and businesses how to reopen after the COVID-19 stay-at-home order is fully implemented. And it's a way to get businesses to take some of these strongly recommended actions, as well as some that are required, and to incorporate that now into their customers, in their employees, and they themselves. And it's a program which there are more businesses coming online practicing this than what we have listed here tonight. For instance, the Reidsville Luckies team has gone through the training so that if ever we have a softball tournament happening at J.C. Park again and the food stand is able to sell food to the participants, the Reidsville Luckies have been trained how to do that safely and practicing social distancing and practicing proper hand sanitization as well as wearing masks so that somebody can safely get a drink or something to eat without being afraid of being infected by somebody here in Reidsville. So this is really important. It's also a way that for citizens, if you go to a business and you notice that everybody behind the counter isn't wearing a mask, and you personally are in the vulnerable population, and as you know, the vulnerable population is anybody older than 65, anybody that has a heart condition, breathing condition, kidney condition, diabetic condition. If you fit any of those characteristics, you're in the vulnerable population. If anybody that you go home to your household is in that vulnerable population, if you see somebody at a store not wearing a mask, I would recommend don't go in. Do your business somewhere else where somebody is following the proper controls. Because the rule of thumb is if a person isn't putting on a mask, they're probably not going to have the hand sanitizer freely available for patrons as well as employees, and they're probably not going to have the 6-foot spacing on the floor so you know at the cash register how far you have to wait for the person who's paying their ticket. So I'm just throwing that out, that COVID-19 is not going to go away. We have to learn how to live with it until someday there will be a vaccine, but we're not there yet. So as we get outside, it's going to be very important for us just to recognize where we can go safely and where we can't. So this first slide that I have here, basically anybody can participate. If you're going to be somebody walking into a retail store like me when I go to the grocery store, you can take this course and there's a guest pledge so that everybody in our community understands really what best behavior is. But as you know, best behavior is not going to be exhibited by everybody. And we're just going to have to learn how to live with it and keep socially distant from those that aren't practicing proper social distancing.
So,
and then of course the businesses, they can start identifying themselves as a count on me NC business.
Right. So again, the businesses can participate in this training, and I think this is fantastic. The Reidsville Lucky's Batting Academy, one example that's already done that. And then of course it's going to be up to us, and I'm talking about you, me, all of us, to do what we can to keep everyone safe.
Absolutely. And further on, we have a list of other businesses that have gone the extra mile already, really within a matter of 24, 48 hours. Mm-hmm. So we do have a number of businesses that are really fired up, wanting to keep their employees safe as well as their patrons safe. So if we go to the second slide, this is what we as customers can do. Wear a cloth covering or a mask. That's not hard to do. I actually walk around with a little neck, looks like a little neck scarf that I just pull up over my nose and mouth if I'm all of a sudden in a situation where I'm going to be within 6 feet of other people. In other words, when I walk into a store, I just pull it up, and when I get back into the car, take it down. We all need to be patient to wait 6 feet behind people who are ahead of us in line for any reason. And also washing our hands. Yep, use soap and water, but many businesses will have and should have hand sanitizer freely available as you walk in the store, so you can put the hand sanitizer on your hands right away. Always try to do contactless delivery. You'll see that people will very easily make that simple. It's a matter of off to one side, you put the item down, the other person picks up. It can be done. Of course, wash your hands after that. And always, this is all anxious times, and about being patient and kind to the staff is very important. There are a number of people who are on edge, and the more that we can be kind and gentle in our dealings, the better off we all will be. But again, as we become comfortable with doing these things, it should become second nature, and hopefully it won't make as many people grumpy as sometimes I see.
Right, exactly.
So if we go on to the next, this is what businesses are doing right now. So the businesses should ensure that the staff are wearing their masks and to be able to conduct business, and keeping 6 feet apart. Making sure that there is hand sanitizer easily available for patrons as well as employees. Make sure that when their employees come into work, that they don't have a fever, they're not coughing, they don't have a runny nose. It's the kind of thing that if you do it second nature, right when you come in, in time, you're going to catch those that are starting to have a bit of a runny nose, that maybe they should not work that day behind the counter selling stuff. Make sure that the indoor-outdoor seating meets the physical distancing guidelines. So if, let's say you're a store that has a couple tables outside, make sure that the people who are sitting at the tables are going to be 6 feet apart from those sitting at another table. Again, I mentioned about the hand sanitizer. Clean and sanitize common areas like bathrooms, high-touch areas pretty regularly, following the CDC recommendations. And cleaning and sanitize go together. Just spraying disinfectant on top of a dirty surface is not a successful way to make that area sanitized. You need to clean first, and then you spray your disinfectant. Disinfectant isn't made to have to work through organic debris. Of course, hard tables and hard surfaces should be clean. That makes sense. Also, the menus and condiments at a restaurant after every use, or what would be better is just provide single-use options. So in other words, my prediction is you'll be going to restaurants, and very often you'll have the flatware wrapped up in a napkin, probably a paper napkin, and the flatware could very well be just plastic. That way, after you're using it, it gets thrown away, and nobody else will get exposed to any viruses that you would be carrying.
Gotcha. All right.
Pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
But it takes a little bit of discipline. Sorry, Mark, you were going to say?
No. I was just saying I agree with you. I think that goes, it's really a great way of putting that together, is to just make sure that everything is clean, and you're going to have to clean first. You just can't it's almost like dusting the furniture, but you don't move anything when you do it. It's still dirty, so you've got to do the same thing with cleaning these tables and other things before, and then sanitize before you do them.
Right. You're hitting the nail on the head. And so the last slide is the one that shows those that as of Tuesday, yesterday, these are the businesses that have already gone through the training. And you've already heard me mention Reidsville Lucky's. There's also Classic Cut. Beth Hodges has a very nice video showing how Classic Cut is going to manage people as they come in to make sure they don't get exposed to the COVID while they're having their hair cut, and their employees won't get exposed to COVID-19. But you can see here 24 Blackbirds, Rachel Rates, Aspen, Carmela's, Firsties. Holiday Inn Express already has done it as a hotel, and Jack's Burger Bar. Already, because Holiday Inn Express is advertising that they have gone through County, North Carolina, already there are some travel softball tournaments that have looked at Reidsville as a place to conduct a tournament in the near future. So people are looking to see where they can go safely as they can go out now, particularly to restaurants. And so please patronize these that are going the extra mile for your safety and for their employees' safety. We need to keep as many businesses successful as possible, and our patronizing those that are going the extra mile is one of the ways to do it.
One of the things that I've got to say is I've got to give a tip of the hat to a lot of businesses, Reidsville and Rockingham County, that I know that have adapted to this whole COVID-19 situation altogether. They've changed up the way that they do business by takeout orders, and some of them with delivery service, but a lot of them with drive-through, and where you can run in and pick up your items and then leave, pick up. They've adapted, and I think we are in times we have never seen before in at least 100 years. In a lot of, I would compare it basically to the plague of 100 years ago. It's escaped me now, but as you know, we're in different times, and these businesses around us have adapted to this so well, and they have been able to put together these plans in order to stay in business and continue to serve the public. because we know people do have to eat. They need essential things, and so hats off to them.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought up about the influenza pandemic of 1918 through
Yes.
1920.
Thank you. Yes.
We always look back in history and we think, oh, that's when they didn't have antibiotics, that's when they didn't have vaccines, da-da-da-da-da. Well, we now are experiencing where we don't have a vaccine and it's a virus and we don't have a treatment for it. There are antiviral treatments that have been developed for other viruses, but at the moment they're not considered successful or not found to be successful. And so we basically are getting reminded that there are some things in Mother Nature, which includes infections, which we do not have the answer for right off the shelf, like we would with, let's say, a bacterial pneumonia or a person with appendicitis. You know, we have all those stock treatments. And so it's kind of a wake-up call for us as a society that we don't have all the answers and that we're going to have to be prepared, because there are these other viruses that have been out there for years, but because the people, like bats in particular, have been able to exist not close to people, but now all of a sudden we're starting to see some of these type diseases. In Australia, there actually is a disease that originated in bats that infected horses, that when a person treated the horse, they also could contract the virus and die. They were able to get a vaccine developed over a period of 3.5, 4 years to protect the veterinarians working on the horses. Horses, of course, when they got it, they did die.
Right.
We now have a vaccine. But my point is, this is not going to be the only one that we're going to have to deal with as a society. It's been 100 years since the last one. Just like the 100-year floods have been occurring every 3 and 4 years now, my prediction is that there's going to be another infection that we're going to have to deal with in the future, and we might as well learn how to discipline ourselves to kind of deal with it until our science catches up to being able to deal with that problem. There's no doubt that we're going to overcome this, and that on the other side, we're going to have a vaccine. We're going to be able to get closer to what we used to do. But we should always keep in the back of our minds that if something else shows itself again, or we have a second surge in the late fall, winter with COVID-19 before we have a vaccine, we know the kind of behavior that we need to do to protect ourselves and our loved ones.
Exactly. Mayor, thank you so much. We appreciate you bringing us this information. And again, there you see the businesses participating in the Count on Me NC program, where they've gone that extra mile now that we're in phase 2 of Governor Cooper's restrictions. So we are in phase 2, which have been relaxed somewhat, and those are the participating businesses. Mayor, thank you so much. We'll look forward to hearing from you. We're going to talk more about the census this week, but we'll be looking forward to your update on COVID-19 next week here on Star News TV.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you for all that you're doing for our community, getting the word out.
Thank you, sir. We do appreciate it. It's great to hear from you. Talk to you soon.
Yes, sir.
That's Reidsville Mayor Dr. Jay Donecker with his update on COVID-19. We will be back. We've got more right after this.